Good Monday, June 23rd morning. How y'all doing? It's the Hat and Beard Show. You're tuned in, and we are in the middle of the off-season. Guys, we got some stories lined up for you. Hopefully you're staying cool out there. It is a balmy 83 degrees here in mid-Michigan, and just going to climb. The rest of the country should be seeing a bit of a heat wave, but today, boys and girls, we got some stories, okay? It's the off-season. We've got our mining boots on and our pickaxe, and we're digging up stories. We want to walk on over to NBC Sports in 2025 Chicago Bears Fantasy Preview. Can bend over small PP Benedict Arnold Johnson, the trader in the Windy City. Save Caleb Williams. Take a look at what's going on over in the Windy City, see what's really popping off there as far as the Bears are concerned. First take on everything is, well, if you're asking me, I'm going to go ahead and say flat out no, because, well, you guys know my feeling on small PP Benedict Arnold Bendover Johnson, the trader in the Windy City. He's Matt Patricia 2.0, and I don't expect him to win even one single game in his tenure over in Chicago. Then we're going to keep it local. Our guy, Tim 2020 Man, has a nice little article written just this morning for us. Tim 20 Man, 5 Lions to watch under 25. Like I said, it's the offseason, and it is some filler arc material we have here. I'm pretty sure you guys know most of the names already on here because our team is built around incredibly talented youth. Brad Holmes has been an absolute mad lad when it comes to drafting. And there are some players that we need to take a little look at. Leading off right there is our guy, Penei Sewell. So if that just kind of gives you a little bit of an appetizer as to what you can expect. And then, this article came out just this weekend here, guys. And it comes from us from pfnewsroom.com. And that is UFL ratings drop, but it's also the current trend in sports. So is it that the UFL is down or that everybody's down? We will take a little looky-loo over at that. But, guys, we do have a poll up for you this morning, and that is, how many games will the Bears win under small PP? I've given you 3 options. One of them is grossly incorrect, but Super Bowl bound, because they are now the three-peat off-season champions. That is one option, coming in with 0% of the vote. 3 of you have voted so far. 2 of you have selected the correct answer, and that is, it's the 1 and 1A option of correct answers, and that is 67% of you saying 0. He's a traitor and scum, and I couldn't agree with you more on that. Bendover Johnson is a colossal pile of excrement stacked upon itself. And then the third option, and this is kind of a if you know, you know, and that is JG16 should McVeigh small PP's wife. So if you know, you know. Guys, it's the Hat and Beard Show. You're an attentive audience. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. That's what we love about you around here. If you're new to the channel, feel free to walk on over to that subscribe button, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live Monday through Wednesday. And it's about the right time to really start keeping your ear to the ground so that you can anticipate when we're going to go 5 days a week here, guys. As the regular season continues to just get closer and closer, we just continue to row that boat closer and closer to the end of the offseason and start of the regular season. We do need to ramp up production and go 5 days a week so that we can really maximize the content that we provide for you guys and talk football all season long. While you're rooting around in the bathtub under the video, feel free to like this video if you enjoy the content that we provide here. And then the number one thing that you can do help this channel grow, it is a boots on the ground grassroots movement here. We are the largest, fastest growing NFL and Detroit Lions content creation station here on YouTube, exclusively streaming in the 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. block from Grandma Studio One. And the way you can help us grow is walk on over to that share button. Go ahead and click that share button. Now, I understand today's well-cultivated and well-manicured social media profile presence world, you don't necessarily want to be affiliated with guys like me, and I completely understand that. So what you can do is, instead of tanking how your grandmother and great aunt feel about you on your Facebook profile, you can just copy that link down on your clipboard. Go ahead and do that 2, 3, 4 times. It shows the algorithm that this channel is worth watching and helps push it out to other viewers so that we can continue to grow. Good morning, everybody. Morning, Brent DeWitt, Mr. Detroit City, Sam Armstrong. Everybody here just kind of hanging out, rocking out, ready to roll. Death, taxes, and the Bears in the basement. That's things you can hang your hat on, Brent DeWitt. I love it 100%. Good morning, guys. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the show.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
All right, guys, coming to us from NBCSports.com. The Chicago Bears, 2024 was not necessarily their best season. For the first time in franchise history, they fired their head coach midway through the regular season with old Matt Rinky-Dink Eberflus, and didn't really help him out much because, as it was said in the pre-show chat, you can't fix stupid. 2024 Chicago Bears stats, points per game, they ranked 28th, managing 18 points a game. Total yards, they were dead last. They were middle of the pack in plays per game, running 62 plays per game. That's good for 13th. They were throwing the ball middle of the pack at 14 with a minimum of 30 or an average of 36.8. A lot of playing from behind, trying to chuck their way back into the game. And then we're not going to get into the rush attempts and all that shit. The Bears were just bad. Here we go. Mission possible. Save Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is in his supremely disappointing rookie year presided over one of the least productive offenses in the NFL, a unit that never got better and suffered from the rookie's wildly inaccurate passing, especially from a clean pocket. Perhaps it was the offensive scheme cooked up by Shane Waldron, who has now failed spectacularly in 2 stops as an offensive coordinator. Maybe it was Chicago's offensive line, though. As I wrote back in March, there are plenty of reasons to believe Williams' sack problem was actually self-inflicted, waiting around too long, trying to make too much happen, trying to do too much too early in your NFL career. That the Bears were aggressive in hiring quarterback, whispering small PP Benedict Arnold Johnson, the trader in the Windy City, as their next head coach, speaks to the palpable desperation of the moment. The Bears can't afford for Williams to join the generational line of quarterback busts in Chicago. Johnson has been tasked with saving Williams before it's too late. If it's not already too late, following Williams, calamitous, terrible 2024 season. I have a 6th grade reading level, so you big brains over at NBC Sports need to dumb it down for guys like me. In the passing game, their quarterbacks, you're going to look at a little depth chart action for you heading into this season. They got Caleb Williams and Tyson Bagent at quarterbacks, and then wide receivers DJ Moore, Olamide Zaccheaus, Rome Odunze, Devin Duvernay, Luther Bolden, Tyler Scott, and then their tight ends, they obviously went after Colston Loveland in the first round, kind of an interesting little twist on things. And, of course, they still have old Cole Kmet. The Bears spent more than $40 million this spring to revamp an offensive line graded by Pro Football Focus as the league's 8th best pass blocking unit. Damn, I am screwing up this morning, fellas, in 2024. So good that they were good once doesn't mean that they're all going to be good together. This overhaul naturally came after Williams took a league high. Come on, get off that. Get off. There we go. 68 sacks and 241 pressures. The NFL's 3rd highest mark. Probably would have had significantly more pressures and a lot more sacks. Caleb Williams, very lucky that Aiden Hutchinson broke his leg when he did. Hutch would have eaten him alive the rest of the season. In a season largely defined by Williams' hair-on-fire play style, the rookie was 11th out of 40 qualifying QBs in completion rate over expected when pressured, though his catchable ball rate in such scenarios ranked near the bottom. 37th out of 40 quarterbacks, alongside famous Jameis Winston and Anthony Richardson. That's not. Oh, excuse me. That's not where the concern should lie, though. Williams struggled mightily from a clean pocket from start to finish in 2024. He was 0.7% over his expected completion rate from a clean pocket in 2024, 5th lowest among qualifying QBs. Only AR-15 had a lower catchable ball rate from clean pockets. It was bleak for Williams when he had time to operate. As someone who drafted Odunze in a few important fantasy leagues, I could hardly stomach another errant Caleb Williams overthrow on a surefire touchdown. It was nauseating. It was nauseating for some of you, those of you being the people who, for whatever reason, support the Chicago Bears, And then the other people who were like, yes, I'm going to draft a rookie wide receiver to pair with a rookie quarterback and an offense coordinated by Shane Waldron. So that was just stupid. But you know what, Chicago fans? I mean, what do you expect? You can't expect that much out of them. Right? Johnson's offense predicted on basic over-the-middle throws that turned JG16 into a spreadsheet dominator in Detroit should provide more easy button attempts for Williams in 2025, if, of course, Williams is amendable to such throws. It will be quite the shift for Williams, as the Bears rank 28th in the rate of over-the-middle passes, 18% last season, while the Lions were first, 31%. Detroit was second in over-the-middle passing rate in 2023. It's definitely a thing for Johnson's offense. Now, we are just going to pump the brakes. Whoop, whoop, pump the brakes real quick here. I did kind of see some things, football analysis, a channel that I very much enjoy, and I got to give that guy a tremendous amount of credit. He is, for some reason, all of us NFC North fans tend to apparently watch each other. Tom Grossi, myself, not that I put myself in the Grossi or football analytics sphere, but we seem to all kind of watch each other. And for football analytics to be as big of a Vikings fan that he is, he does give a very professional and fair analysis, not like myself, on other teams. And he pointed something out that, Dan Campbell does not get the credit that he has deserved. And now, personally, I think that's a good thing, because people have written Dan Campbell off as a meathead. The first impressions are the worst impressions, and that biting kneecaps thing off, people wrote him off as Guns Mahoney, old meathead Dan Campbell, the caveman in the Motor City. So how much of this play calling is Ben Johnson, and how much of this play calling is MCDC actually deciding what to do? Is he this hands-off, rah-rah head coach that a lot of people seem to imagine that he is? Or is Dan Campbell actually the genius that we know he is? And we're going to see that, as unfortunately Aaron Glenn will probably fail in New York. Not only is it an impossible situation for him to win at, but I don't think Aaron Glenn, I think he's better suited to be a defensive coordinator, be it for Detroit or any other organization. He is a good defensive coordinator. But Ben Johnson, Matt Patricia 2.0, we're going to see him fail, and fail miserably, in the Windy City, because I think what you're going to find out is that it is the sum total of Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and the talent that they're able to put together, as well as the psych profile in these players moving forward as one unit. Ben Johnson has already been seen trying to change the Bears' practice and mirror that of the Lions. And if history repeats itself over and over and over again, as Shooter Sanders would say, I'm pretty sure that the Bears are just walking right into a Matt Patricia 2.0 situation, which, good on them. Enjoy that, Chicago. Johnson said in early June that the team had spent ample time on screen passes. Whether the ultra-confident Williams will take the easy checkdowns is another matter entirely. We know this much, though. Williams was accurate on short tosses in 2024, completing 91% of such throws. Good for you. Williams last year was pressured on 36% of his dropbacks, ranking 18th out of 40 for qualifying QBs. Here's where the problem lies. Williams took a sack on 28% of those pressures. Let's go ahead and read that again. Deshaun Watson was pressured on 36% of his dropbacks, ranking in the middle of the pack. There is room for improvement, though not necessarily crippling if you're as talented as advertised. Williams took a sack on 28% of those pressures. Only Deshaun Watson and Will Levis had a higher pressure to sack ratio. So Deshaun Cosby and Will Levis, who we see the Titans took Cam Ward number 1 overall, so that shows you exactly how they feel about Will Levis. Will Mayo Man Levis, right? Williams has a little bit in the way of rushing juice. Last season, he ranked 7th among QBs with 81 attempts. His almost 500 yards were just 6th among signal callers. If Williams buys into Johnson's paint-by-numbers, analytics-friendly offensive program and continues rushing at a decent clip, he could push for top 12 fantasy status. just as Goff was regularly a QB1 under Johnson. Or Jared Goff is just that good. Ben Johnson is a gigantic turd. It can't get much worse for Williams in 2025, a year after he had the same fantasy points per dropback as Aiden O'Connell and Andy the Red Rifle Dalton. DJ Moore told reporters in mid-June that he doesn't have any goals for the 2025 season because he doesn't know his place in small PP Benedict Arnold bend over Johnson's offensive system. Moore, who has been lectured by Johnson about his poor on-field body language. Boy, doesn't that sound familiar? Very echoes of Matt Patricia. Seems suspect he won't see the ball quite as much as he has during his first 2 seasons with the Bears, as an ugly scene for fantasy purposes. Moore and the rest of the Chicago pass catchers were victims of Williams' astounding dropback inefficiency in 2024. Moore ranked 67th out of 110 qualifying wideouts in yards per route. It was by far Moore's lowest yards per route in his NFL career. That's saying something because he played with the Panthers for quite a while, and they had some pretty rough years at quarterback. 2024 also marked the lowest average depth ADOT in his 7 NFL seasons. If he eventually finds a role with the team's new offense, Moore should bounce back on an increased efficiency alone. And DJ Moore is a very talented wide receiver, a strong wide receiver 1. There's no reason why he shouldn't be 1,500 yards. Well, unless you have Caleb Williams throwing you the ball. A potential issue for Moore's 2025 usage comes from in the form of second-round rookie wide receiver Luther Burden, who in college was a consistent target commander, running 86% of his pass routes from the slot at Missouri. Burden was targeted on 24% of his routes, a near elite rate for a wide receiver taken outside the first round of the draft. Johnson's focus on the screening game could work out well for Burden in a short area merchant in college. If Burden functions as Chicago's primary slot guy, he could take on the role Amon-Ra St. Brown occupied in Johnson's offense. It's a fantasy-friendly one, especially in PPR formats. If the often injured Burden can stay upright for most of all of the 2025 season, I could see him soaking up a lot of Keenan Allen's targets from 2024 share and becoming the most productive Chicago receiver. The health issue will be paramount for Burden, who has missed the team's off-season program with some kind of soft tissue injury. Boy, that does not bode well. Soft tissue injuries, especially. You didn't even make it to pajama practices, bro. Oh, come on now. That does not bode well. Odunze, now remember they did draft Rome Odunze in the first round of last year. Issue in 2024 were twofold. Williams was wildly inaccurate when targeting the rookie, and he just did not get open. Odunze last year ranked 70th out of 116 qualifying wideouts on ESPN's Open Score, which measures a pass catcher's ability to separate from defenders. It's not a great sign for Odunze's fantasy project. It means he'll have to become an adept contested ball catcher if he's going to emerge as a viable fantasy option in 12-team leagues, especially as Moore and Burden soak up short area targets from Williams. Johnson said in May that the team was, quote, going to see a lot of growth from Odunze, not just in the springtime, but once we get to camp. So he has that going for him, which is nice. But, proof's going to be in the pudding. The Bears' tight end situation appears complicated until you remember one thing. The team invested a top 10 pick in Colston Loveland. And those of you guys who have been around for a while here know exactly how I feel about taking a tight end in the first round. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. You can get hyper talented tight ends in the second round. There is no reason to invest. If you're going to take a tight end in the first round, find a dancing partner and trade out. Jesus, especially a top 10 pick. Probably that's all you need to know. But I'll tell you more. Marquee Sports Network Scott Bair reported in mid-June that Loveland, dealing with shoulder injury in the offseason, should be a primary tight end in the passing game and a real weapon over the course of the season. Except for, dealing with a shoulder injury in the offseason. Soft tissue injuries in the offseason. Loveland, after being invisible in the Michigan offense in 2022 and 2023, had a solid final season, catching 56 passes for 582 yards and 5 touchdowns in a massively run-heavy Wolverines offense. Loveland was targeted on a ridiculous 38% of his pass routes during his final collegiate season. It's that kind of target per route rate that suggests Loveland can command looks even if he's not the first or second option in the passing attack. A mere 4 tight ends in the nation had better yards per route than Loveland in 2024. Probably that proved irresistible. He was just irresistible for small PP Benedict Arnold Bendover Johnson, the trader in the Windy City. Or as they call him, the spreadsheet king. He's a fucking douche. He's a douche. He's a douche. Should we read the run game breakdown? Sure, why not? Nah. You know what? Nah, I don't feel like reading about DeAndre Swift. Look, DeAndre Swift couldn't succeed in Detroit with Ben Johnson. What makes you think DeAndre Swift's going to succeed in the dumpster fire that is Chicago under Ben Johnson? All I'm reading here is a bunch of fluff and a lot of speculation. Ben Johnson's a tool. He's a douche. Caleb Williams is a hyper overrated douche. First overall picks, I mean, they generally don't really live up to all their hype. I mean, look at it took Matt Stafford, his second team, to win a Super Bowl. Jared Goff, even though making it to a Super Bowl with the Rams, still has had his most successful career on his second team. Trevor Lawrence, if he could ever get out of Jacksonville, will probably see a ton of success outside of Jacksonville. You know what I'm saying? I never bought into the Caleb Williams thing. I think he's a diva. The painting the fingernails, the crying in college, the blatant disregard for the presence of Keenan Allen, who was at one point an elite wide receiver in the NFL, came to your team in a trade specifically to be a veteran presence to help you develop. You ignored him on the sidelines at like a training camp situation. Caleb Williams, I just overall think he's a douche. And frankly, I think him and Ben Johnson deserve each other. They're a couple of douche nozzles who can just sit around and sniff each other's farts all day long, tell each other how great they're going to be, just glaze each other up and down. And the product will speak for itself on the field when the Bears don't win a single game this year. They're going to go 0-17 and sit at the number 1 overall pick next year. And Ben Johnson, the trader in the Windy City, small PP, Benedict Arnold, Bendover Johnson, will be one of the first coaches to go, I think maybe even the first coach to go 0-17, as he just fails epically. This is a Matt Patricia 2.0 type situation that's going on in Chicago. I don't know why everybody's getting so hyped about it. You need to learn from past experiences. The psych profile on Ben Johnson just isn't there. He's a douche. I'm gonna keep it salty, or keep it clean. And I'm salty down there in the chat. All right, morning everybody. Let's take it over to the chat. If Caleb Williams and his pretty nails can't mesh with Ben, this will be a disaster. Sam Armstrong, I like where your head's at, brother. Isn't that an aerodynamic nail polish? It might be. It still ain't gonna help him though, Brent DeWitt. I used to wear nail polish with a glow-in-the-dark coat on stage playing guitar in an emo band, so when I was in the dark, they could see my fingers. But then again, I was in an emo band, not a football player. I'm Chasing Chase. Good morning, brother. I like your comment. As I was reading it, I was like, yeah, dude, that's totally fine because you were in an emo band, not Caleb Williams. Like, that's not something you could, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? But Caleb Williams, he's just an asshole. Exactly. See, and everyone's agreeing with the Chase Rockers can get away with it. Caleb having enough between the ears to absorb Ben Johnson's offensive schemes. Brent, I agree. I don't think he's got enough gray matter. I think he's just okay, let's call assholes and elbows, right? Caleb Williams is an athletic, hyper-talented individual, but you have to have that mind-muscle connection, and I just don't think he's got the analytics to break it down in live time. I think Caleb Williams is too self-involved, too worried about as the play develops, too worried about his numbers, how he's going to look and what he can do, as opposed to taking what the defense is going to give him, which Ben Johnson's offense does require a certain level of maturity. Hendon Hooker maybe was never able to grasp that. Now, Hendon Hooker not as talented as Caleb Williams, but maybe that could be the situation. We can see Caleb Williams walking into the exact same situation here. Maybe Caleb Williams, maybe this is the year that maybe under small PP Benedict Arnold Johnson, the trader in the Windy City, this breaks him. This breaks Caleb Williams, and he just has a mental collapse and flounders out of the league. Loveland has a great senior year considering Michigan had trash QBs. That's true. I agree with you. Hey, good morning. I am salty. F the Bears. FBJ. Exactly. I actually like that. Dude, I'm salty. I should come up with merch and rip off the FJB with the FBJ and put small PP Benedict. I could do like a FBJ and put like Ben Johnson in like Benedict Arnold tricone style hat, and then just put the trader in the Windy City under it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's not a bad idea, dude. That's not a bad idea. Caleb is going to bomb harder than this past weekend. Oh, Mr. Detroit City. I like where that's going. I like your joke there. Like seeing Caleb catching passes in OTAs. Brian Branch waiting to lay the wood down for that play. Dude, that's the thing is Caleb Williams is such a diva that he's going to get smacked around a couple of times. Like, our defense is going to be hot, hot, hot this year, dude. Our Lions defense is going to be hot. We're going to be playing like a unit possessed, and Caleb Williams is going to be persona non grata twice a year. Basically, it's going to be, I don't want to say bounty gate, but you know what I'm saying. Caleb's will play like a beat child this season after all the sacks last year and an aging line. Yes, dude. Well, Carrie Simchick, you're not wrong, dude, because just looking at the analytics alone, Caleb Williams was pressured on 36% of his dropbacks, so he was already a little gun shy. And then he just shit directly in his hat and was sacked on like 28% of those 36% of pressure. So he's already gun shy. He's and that's what we talk about. That's where like I talk about how Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell aren't going to put their players into a situation where they can mentally collapse. And I think that's what we're going to see with Caleb Williams. You're going to see the mental collapse, as well as not only does he have the talent, but you pair the talent level of, say, an arm talent level, like, because Caleb Williams can make throws when he is in pajamas and has no pressure on him. So, you know, he's up there with the better pajama passing quarterbacks, but you couple that with the mentality of a Jamarcus Russell, and it's just a match made in hell, especially with an egomaniac, hyper overrated dipshit former offensive coordinator turned head coach, Matt Patricia Dover Johnson, the trader in the Windy City. You know what I'm saying? The Bears drafting a tight end in the first resembles the 0-16 Lions team. Yes, Sam. Yes, my dude. You see, because they say the same shit. Oh, Loveland's super athletic. Yeah, just like Eric Ebron. You know what I'm saying? You don't draft tight ends in the first round, and you definitely don't draft tight ends in the top 10. That's just absolutely bonkers. That's bonkers. How are we doing in the poll? We got 8 votes in the poll. Hey, somebody's feeling confident saying that the Bears are Super Bowl bound, and because they're the three-peat offseason champs. 62% of you saying 0 wins. Ben Johnson is a traitor and scum. And then 12% of the votes say that JG16 should McVay small PP's wife. If you know, you know. If you don't know, we'll talk about it at the end of the episode. So let's go ahead and roll on over. Ugh, now that we shake all that Chicago smell off of us. I feel greasy talking about the Bears. You know what I'm saying? Like, ugh, just all right. Let's bring it around for some home cooking. Let's kick it on over to DetroitLions.com and really let's get some good home cooking from Tim 20Man. All right, Tim 21 man, senior writer at DetroitLions.com. Tim 20Man, 5 Lions under 25 to watch. The Detroit Lions have a terrific young core of players, either in their prime or just about to enter it. A lot of Detroit's best players are still under the age of 25, and that sets the team up for a sustained success as long as they draft well and add veterans along the way to an already elite core of young players. Here's a look at 5 players under the age of 25. Just keep your eye on these guys, okay? Just keep an eye on these guys. They might turn into something, okay? So as you're watching, the next couple years unfold, if you hear these names pop off, don't be surprised, because these are some guys under 25 that you got to keep an eye on, because they might turn into something. Oh my God, who's first and foremost? Oh, well, would you look at that? Penei Sewell, the cornerstone pick of the rebuild, the most important draft selection Brad Holmes had ever made. His first round pick. He could have gone any number of directions. But Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, they understand the importance of building your franchise from the trenches out. You can't do anything if you can't control the line of scrimmage. So why not go out and get, at the time, we air quoted this, right? Because we see it used so often, but a generational talent at tackle. And they did. Mr. Penei Sewell, who was incredibly young. He's only 24, and he's playing like a 10-year pro. The first team All-Pro is already considered one of the most dominant tackles in the game. He was graded top 3 at the position by PFF and the number 2 run-blocking tackle. Sewell has had a 95.2 run-blocking grade for his career. the second best among all offensive linemen since entering the league in 2021. Sewell has been extremely durable over his career, 4,773 snaps played, and he's only 24 years old, and has become an unquestioned leader and captain. If he continues to trend in this direction, a Hall of Fame jacket will be in his career. Not should be. You need to change that, Mr. 20 Man, from could be to will be in his future. Number 2, safety Brian Branch. I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy. He's a second-round pick that we took out of Alabama. Some guy you need to keep your eye on because he might turn into something. He's only 23 years old. Branch is a versatile player who can play the nickel and safety and really settle in nicely at safety next to Kirby Joseph last season. The two form the best safety duo in the NFL. Branch's ability to cover slot receivers and cover tight ends, along with being able to tackle in space, opens up so much for the Lions defense. He also has this ability to hit players so hard that he breaks their arm. Look at Alex Pepperoni. Branch ranks only behind Baltimore's Kyle Hamilton among qualifying safeties in both career PFF grade and career PFF coverage. 84.3. He recorded 109 tackles, 79 solo, 16 passes defended, 8 tackles for a loss, 6 quarterback hits, 4 interceptions, 1 sack, and 1 forced fumble last year. That is some insane numbers. Wow. Just last year. Those are some guys' career numbers. That's some guys' numbers after 4 years. Them are some fucking numbers, Brian Branch. He is only the third defensive back in the NFL since at least 1999 to post 100 tackles, 15 passes defended, 5 tackles for a loss in a season. And it was just his first season playing full-time safety. Scary. So if you haven't heard of Brian Branch, just kind of keep your ear to the ground. He might turn into something. Now, another guy. Okay, yeah. So someone else, you maybe just another, just someone. You might never have heard of him. Running back, Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know if you've heard of this 23-year-old phenom. Last season Gibbs became the second running back in franchise history to top 1,900 scrimmage yards and 16 scrimmage touchdowns, total of 20, in a season. Joining Billy Sims in 1980, Gibbs was 5th in the NFL in rushing yards, 1,400 yards, 3rd in rushing average, 5.65 yards a clip, 3rd in 10-plus yard runs with 41, and his 20 total touchdowns led all running backs. He became a terrific receiving threat out of the backfield with more than 500 receiving yards last season. Simply put, he's become one of the most explosive all-around weapons in the NFL and is only entering year 3. Just speaks to just Brad Holmes, because everybody questioned it. Everybody questioned Jahmyr Gibbs when we took him. But, man, Brad Holmes, not only was he able to take Jahmyr Gibbs, but he's also to trade back and get more draft gap at all. Yeah. Safety, Kirby Joseph, and making the list. He's also 24 years old and just signed that nice contract extension. The other half of the best safety duo makes the list because he doesn't turn 25 until November. Joseph recorded 83 tackles, 12 passes defended, 9 interceptions last season. Jesus Christ. 9 interceptions last year. Fuck me, man. He earned first-team All-Pro honors and became the first Lions safety duo to do so since Yale Larry in 1962. Joseph signed a well-deserved contract extension this offseason and became the NFL's first safety to record at least 4 interceptions in... I love this stat. I love this stat simply because of who the company alone. Kirby Joseph became the first safety to record at least 4 interceptions in each of his first 3 seasons since Hall of Famer Ed Reed did it in 2002 to 2004. That is some wild company to be in, dude. Ed Reed. And dude, if we're being honest, the Baltimore Ravens didn't even really want to draft Ed Reed. He wasn't even on their top, fucking first-round talent board. He ended up being the only guy available, so they took him. Tight end Sam Laporta. He did have what we call a sophomore slump, but he dealt with injuries all season, off-season, and through OTAs, through pajama practices, all that shit. Sam Laporta was banged up last year, so The drop-off is not unexpected. You hate that it happened in the sophomore year because then you hit that sophomore slump that everybody talks about. But Sam Laporta should have a very bounce-back-esque year this year, I think, especially if we see the emergence of Jameson Williams. And obviously with Amon-Ra St. Brown still being one of the top wide receivers in the NFL, Sam Laporta should thrive as JMO just clears open safeties over the top and lets Laporta and St. Brown just eat in the middle. There are so many weapons in this offense that there aren't always enough touches for everyone. We saw that early on last year with Laporta on his numerous dipped from his record-breaking rookie season, but he was still one of the most productive tight ends in the NFL last year and really came on strong the last 2 months of the year. Laporta has had the most catches, 164, and is tied for the second most receiving touchdowns, 17, and fifth in receiving yards, 1,600 by tight ends through 2 career seasons in NFL history. Wow, that's also very impressive. He has the most receiving touchdowns and second most receptions by a Lions player through the first 2 seasons. Honorable mention, Jameson Williams, because he is also 24. You know, J-Mo, Penny Sewell, Kirby Joseph. These guys are all 24, but god damn, doesn't it feel like they've been here for like 5 years already? You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys just feel like well-seasoned vets at this point. You know what I'm saying? Williams recorded his first 1,000-yard receiving season, his breakout plus 1,000-yard year with 1,001 yards last season with 7 touchdowns. He established himself as one of the NFL's best big play threats, averaging the second highest receiving yards with 17.3 in the league in 24. Williams had 5 50-yard plus receptions last season, and he adds a deep threat to his offense that opponents always have to be prepared for. He's poised for a monster 4th season. I've called for him to have 1,600 yards. So, look, I know I sarcastically said all this. These are no names that nobody on this list should be of a big surprise to you, because not only are these guys very important to the team, but Laporta, Branch, Gibbs, Hutch should be on here, and JMO are all guys that we have been making money moves to be able to retain long term. It's guys like Laporta, Gibbs, Branch that Brad Holmes is not willing to spend money on as Zadarius Smith, per se. You know what I'm saying? God damn, fellas, we're still dealing with this sinus stuff, but it's almost over. These are all very important players, and like I said, it feels like they've been here for so long because these aren't just young, raw. These are young, polished, elite, all-pro players that we have on our team already. So we're going to go ahead and walk on over to the chat. Quite a few of you guys popping off in here this morning. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully everyone's having a good morning here. The same old Lions would have passed on Sewell. Sam, you are completely correct. They would have taken Jamar Chase. Honolulu Cheese Podcast. Good morning and welcome, Mr. Honolulu Cheese. Lions have the best young core in the NFL, no question. I completely agree with you. Not only do we have the best young core on each side of the ball, but when you have the best young core on each side of the ball, you have the best young core of players. We have such a high level of talented players under 25. And some of them weren't even listed on this list. There's so many names. There's just so many names. Brad Holmes has just been drafting these rock stars after rock stars. He says the Bears are not finishing 1 or 2 in the North. I agree with you, Mr. Cheese. They are finishing last because I don't think that they're going to. I just think that Ben Johnson is Matt Patricia 2.0, and I'm calling for the Bears to go 0-17. TB17, good morning. How are you doing? Welcome to the Hat and Beard Show, my guy. I haven't seen you or Mr. Cheese here at all. Feel free to subscribe. Oh, you're a Bears fan. Caleb sucks. Hey, well, at least I agree with you on that, TB17. Unfortunately, we're not too wild about the Bears over here, so sorry, dude. You're going to get we might talk a little shit about Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't thrilled with Laporta, Campbell, and Gibbs picks. Brad knows what he's doing, so now I just watch him cook. Brent DeWitt. Yes, my guy. All 3 of those picks, I was just like, I don't want to say confused or second guessing, but as a longtime Lion fan, we have this built-in questioning of picks because we have done so poorly in drafts for so long that at least now us longtime fans are starting to realize, yep, just got to let Brad Holmes do whatever Brad Holmes does, because whatever Brad Holmes does is probably going to be the right decision. Yeah, I would have loved to have seen us gone after a defensive end first round in the draft. Everybody would have this year. And when we made that pick of Tyleek Williams, I sat there, and Hat and Boobs can attest to this. I sat there and I just went, huh. Well, it's the right move because it's the move that Brad Holmes made. And I'm not going to question what Brad Holmes does until he starts failing. Until he puts a bad product out there, you can't question the moves that he makes. You know what I'm saying? So now up here in the I bet I know who. All right, so TB17, I bet you picked the Super Bowl three-peat offseason champs for the Bears. So we do have a poll. How many games will the Bears win under small PP? Super Bowl bound three-peat champs coming in with 25% of the vote. 0 wins. He's a traitor and scum, walking away with 62% of the vote. And 12% of you say JG16 should McVay small PP's wife. If you know, you know. All right, guys, so we do have one last article here for you. If you haven't already, would you kindly subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell so that you never miss out on any live streams. We go live Monday through Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here, broadcasting from Grandma's Studio 1. We are expanding to 5 days a week, so keep your ear to the ground. If you enjoy the video so far, go ahead and salt that like button. Hit it with the old 2 piece and a biscuit on your way down to that share button, that very important share button. That's where you can share this around. Just simply copy that link down onto your clipboard. Helps the channel grow. We are chasing 700 subscribers, so it's all you guys. It's all you guys sharing, getting the word out there about the Hat and Beard Show, and then it's all you guys in the chat because you guys keep me on my toes. You guys have more insight than I do on some things. Some things you guys bring up that I hadn't even heard about, so we dive into that, and I appreciate all you guys do. Now, finally, our last story of the day, UFL related. As you guys know, I'm a big UFL fan. I do enjoy a little bit of football methadone in the spring. Now, the product's not the best, and it could use a lot of bolstering as far as the NFL getting behind the marketing, maybe having a little bit more money to sign higher talent of players, expanding the league needs to happen. We do need more teams to extend the season a little bit longer. We also need to move some teams around to different markets. We've talked about that many times, and we'll continue to talk about that sporadically here or there. But over here at pfnewsroom.com, UFL ratings drop, current trend in sports. I found this last night while I was taking a poop with year 2 of the UFL officially in the rearview mirror. One can reflect on the past season as a bit of a, quote, downer when it comes to the overall exposure of the league. TV ratings were down significantly, while attendance in 7 of 8 markets also saw a dip. Can you guess? Do you guys remember what market seen an uptick? That's right. Your Michigan Panthers seen a nice growth, not following the trend of the UFL, being the one lone bright spot. Focus on TV ratings. This was the year that did not fare incredibly well for the UFL. They introduced some new properties, including, quote, Friday Night Lights on Fox, which ultimately brought Fox average viewership down compared to a season ago. The numbers speak for themselves. Last year, the UFL averaged 816,000 viewers per telecast. In 25, the league saw an average of just 669,000 nice viewers per game, a drop-off of 19%. At first glance, it looks bad. The UFL did not carry over a large chunk of casual viewers from 24, despite an arguably more talented league this time around. They saw a legitimate dip in their weekly audience. Their 2025 championship game didn't reach 1 million viewers in average viewership. I turned it off after the second quarter, which is the first time in modern spring football history that a championship couldn't eclipse that number. That was partly because the Panthers got their shit pushed in by the DC Defenders. That guy right there, Jordan Ta'amu, should have been the league MVP. Unfortunately, Bryce Perkins didn't earn it the way that Jordan Ta'amu did, and boy, did he make us pay for that 390 yards passing and 5 total touchdowns. However, when one takes a broader look at the sports and entertainment scene in the U.S. right now, it paints a picture that actually helps the UFL's case. Sports ratings down in general. When you look at the major sports as competition for the UFL during their season, the numbers are down across the board. For example, the NHL saw a drop in their playoff viewership in the United States this year. It didn't help that one of the featured teams, the Edmonton Oilers, were in the communist states of Canada. Nonetheless, there was a legitimate decrease for the NHL Stanley Cup audience here in the States. Game 1 between the Oilers and Panthers was the least watched final opener since 2018, excluding the pandemic years. The games themselves were very competitive, but despite the quality of product on the field or the rink, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals saw nearly a 25% drop-off in viewership compared to last year's average on ABC. This year's matchups were brought to you on TNT. Shifting over to the NBA, their finals matchup between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is headed towards a Game 7, is also down drastically. While numbers are not yet available for Game 6, which happened last night. When did this come out? This was written 3 days ago. All right, well, I'm not too worried about that. I don't follow the NBA, so we're going to skip the Game 6 news. Granted, Oklahoma City and Indiana are two of the NBA smaller markets compared to the last year between Boston and Dallas. That said, all 5 games so far haven't reached 10 million viewers, and the total for Game 6 remains to be seen. Damn it. Sorry, guys. Old quick clicking over here. It's trying to make you sick with all the zooming around. With a little bit more marketing, plus hopefully a better handle on press and storylines heading into the 26th season, the league can flip the script. These next several months will be crucial for the success of the UFL, and it starts with those in charge to make the right decisions throughout this offseason. What are your thoughts on the okay, I'm not going to ask your thoughts on the UFL, but so we did see, this is what I was talking about, we did see a dip in viewership, a dip in attendance. That is to be expected when you see a dip in the economy and Americans still trying to replenish what was depleted over the past few years. Frivolous spending, being able, even though it is, more financially friendly to attend a UFL game than it is an NFL game, still an expense, especially during the springtime. That's something you're going to find when the warm weather hits. People are having, they have other shit that they want to do during the weekend, and I'm going to be honest, as much as I like the idea of, football on Friday nights, Friday night is the slot that television casts go to die. So stick to the Saturday and Sunday. You only have 8 teams in the league. You could just run them all on Sunday. Just play all your games on Sunday. Quit trying to spread out multiple days with the viewership. Really pack it in and make it a whole thing, like the NFL makes it a whole thing. You got to get marketing behind it. There needs to be more money behind it. The NFL needs to get behind the UFL if they want it to succeed, ultimately. The NFL puts their shield behind it and some money behind it. The UFL will be a raging success, a raging clue. It's going to be a big raging clue. All right, down in the chat, I'll never forget that we drafted Ebron over Aaron Donald, dude. Oh, my God, Brent DeWitt, I know, dude. Can you believe that we took Eric Ebron over Aaron Donald? Oh, my God. What idiots. So trying to get the Lions having a competent front office. Love the way times have changed exactly, and that's what we're all learning with Brent DeWitt. Sorsdahl and Broughton should make the Panthers carry Simtich. You, dude, my guy. I've been saying Sorsdahl, Broderick Martin, Hendon Hooker would all look really good in the Royal Plum and Champagne with Baby Blue of the Michigan Panthers. That's all I'm saying. Sam Armstrong, the NBA does indeed suck, dude. The product is trash. It's too long. People are paid too much money. People are too much divas. That's why March Madness thrives. I think March Madness, you're going to see a little bit less beneficial product, especially with the transfer portal and NIL money. Well, March Madness used to dominate because it was just people out there playing for the love of the game. And a lot of guys, it was their last push for glory in college. You know what I mean? The NBA, all they're doing is chasing bags, dude. They're just chasing bags, dude. They're just chasing bags. And I've never been a fan of the NBA. So, well, boys, it's been Monday morning. We're a little bit light on time here. Martin, the BM. That's funny, Brent. The BM movement. I sent some hearts in the chat. That's funny, Brent. Do it. I like that shit. Hopefully, you guys had a good weekend. It's Monday. It's warm out there, and unfortunately, the earwigs decided to destroy my dahlia. The nice big dahlia my mom got us that we were growing. Earwigs just fucking massacred that. A little pissed off about that. So we've been dealing with the earwig situation in the flower beds. I was only able to squeeze in one mow this weekend because I was roasting out there, dude. For being as gingery as I am, that heat, man, I can't handle it that well, and I burned pretty well. But we were able to dodge a lot of the sunburn, but it took me a while, and I was only able to get one mow in because yesterday I was just like, I was like, F that, dude. I ain't going out in this heat. It's bananas. Do got to get ready to go to head to work here in the next little bit. I'm really hoping that the chillers can keep up because we had some serious issues. They're running a cooling tower, running a marathon on one leg right now, and it's not looking pretty, fellas, especially with these record-setting temperatures. So everybody stay cool, stay hydrated out there. Today we talked about the 2025 Chicago Bears. Can small PP Benedict Arnold bend over Johnson save Caleb Williams? I think we here in the Chicago or in the Detroit fandom know that Chicago is getting Matt Patricia 2.0, and the expectations, at least coming from this side of Lake Michigan, are good luck. Then we walked on over to the DetroitLions.com. Our guy Tim 20man listed 5 Lions under 25 to watch, and they're all names that guys you'd never heard of. Penei Sewell, this dude Brian Branch, some guy named Jahmyr Gibbs. I've never even heard of this guy Kirby Joseph. Apparently he played wide receiver in college and converted to safety and only played 1 year as safety in college. So I'd expect very, very little out of him. Definitely not very much out of him. And then we also have this other guy, Sam Laporta, who's quietly, I guess, having some record-breaking years, but I don't know if these guys will really pan out. Just some names to maybe keep an eye on because they could turn out to be something. They could turn out to be busts. And then we briefly skimmed over, although the numbers being down for the UFL, it seems to be the trend. In sports right now, viewership down, attendance down, money down. People trying to save money, trying to, do what they can here or there. Also, the UFL Friday nights are just a death sentence, guys. They're just a death sentence, just an absolute death sentence for telecast. So, all right, better weekend than Iran. God, are you saying that we bombed Iran? Bombed Iran? You saying that Lindsey Graham is just stroking it, just going absolutely bananas down there? He's so happy. The ghost of John McCain is just dancing in whatever hellfire he's been basked in for the past couple of years. Dick Cheney's pacemaker can hardly keep up with himself. Little Bush is just doing all kinds of fucking rails off of strippers' asses, painting all kinds of pictures of bombed out fucking bunkers in Iran. That being said, I hope this doesn't turn into a major escalated conflict. I'm 37 years old. I watched the forever war in Afghanistan. I watched the botched withdrawal. I watched us get 1 month of reprieve from the military-industrial complex before we just started funneling funds, shitloads of funds, and arms to a proxy war over in Ukraine. And, if history repeats itself, it looks like we're just going to get ourselves into another 20-year war. Now, here's the thing that a lot of people are failing to realize about Iran. We thought Afghanistan was a long slog. We thought Iraq, boots-on-the-ground invasion, was a long slog. Do you realize that there are over 90 million people in Iran? Do you realize how fucking big Iran is, not just as a populace, but also as a geographical country, and that the majority of the topography of that is mountainous ranges, unlike what we've seen in Afghanistan or Iraq? It is both of those training grounds, those sandboxes that we played in, those noob areas. This is going from PvE to PvP. You know what I'm saying? PvP is Iran. 20% of the world's energy is funneled through the little strait there that Iran can basically fuck up whenever they want. Personally, I think Trump did it because he knows something that we don't. Okay, I'm gonna be real. I know this isn't a political thing, but I think Trump knows something that we don't, which is why he did it, because he is very anti-war. Okay. He wouldn't have done it unless he knew something was coming down the pipe. Personally, my conspiracy on this all is, so we deployed the USS Nimitz like 7 days earlier than it was scheduled for its deployment. The Nimitz is also like a month or less away from being decommissioned. Personally, I am of the interdimensional shape-shifting child molesters are here to take over the world. So what I would expect is the USS Nimitz to be hit in some type of false flag operation, which will then be utilized for the globalists and the military-industrial complex to beat the war drum, because they'll say American blood has been spilled, in which case the American people will then demand a declaration of war from Congress, and we will see another false flag event catapult the United States into another forever war, costing millions of young American lives. Thanks, Mr. Detroit City. Thanks, bud. Thank you. All right, now I know we got a little out in the weeds. Brenda can't take credit for that. It was John the Doc on Lions SI. Gotcha. UFL game looked like monkey fucking. Dude, Brent, it did look like a monkey fucking a football. You know what I'm saying? It looked terrible. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. I've been working on the Alex Jones voice. Look, the only reason I do this Alex Jones voice is I'm kind of retarded, okay? And poor Hat and Boobs, she has had to suffer through. She's been having to deal with years of Alex Jones. Okay, all right, so Joe, I'm just gonna tell you, my sources are telling me. Okay, lots of Alex Jones, and then also this is the other one I'm working on. There's poison in the milk, okay, and it's making the babies retarded. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to get breast milk for all of the babies, okay, because we put them on fake milk and it makes them retarded and fat, and in America we don't like having a populace of sick, retarded, fat people. Okay. Hell yeah, thank you, dude. Yeah, it's not the best, but it's the closest RFK that I can get to. It's really difficult to do the RFK. But, you know, as long as we can do some of the voices here and make you guys laugh, we're doing the best that we can, all right? So, if you guys haven't already, would you walk on over to the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. It's the #1 way that you can combat the globalists taking over independent media here at the Hat and Beard Show, broadcasting to you exclusively live from Grandma Studio 1, where we maintain independence and free media, bringing you the hardest-hitting NFL and Detroit Lions content station. I'm gonna punch you in the throat. All right, guys, so there, we padded out an hour. Oh, had to get a little out in the weeds there with some voices, but hey, we made it. We made it through this marathon. All right, one more look at the poll, 9 votes. All right, we got one more vote coming in. JG16 should. McVeigh, small PP's wife. We're going to go ahead and end that poll. So in case you guys didn't know, it's been rumored that Jared Goff, the reason that he got shown the door in L.A. was because he banged Sean McVay's wife. So that's where that joke's coming. Alex says, I'm not bragging. All right, Joe, look, my sources tell me. No, I'm not bragging. Okay, all right. But at Infowars.com, my sources, I've seen the evidence. Okay, I've seen it. I can't let it go. Okay, but I've seen my sources tell me. All right, Joe. All right, guys. It's been a wild Monday. Try and stay cool out there. Have yourself a good rest of the day. I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. We'll see you guys then. 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Eastern time here at youtube.com. Yeah. Bonga bonga. Frig off.